Good evening and welcome to a program devoted entirely to Lefties Losing It. Let's start with one of our favourites, Dylan Mulvaney, who has made a career out of mocking what he calls girlhood. And despite causing more than $1 billion worth of damage and almost destroying Bud Light with an endorsement, he is now promoting another iconic brand, Versace.
So pretty. I've never seen you in that dress.
Sure you have, honey. This is the one that I always pull out when my relationships start to get a little serious.
Some boys kiss me, some boys hug me. I think they're okay.
Yes, I'm sure that'll have the ladies flocking to buy those overpriced Versace garments. Well done, Donatella. Let's check in on a protest that took place in recent days where masked anti-Israeli activists stormed Columbia University, taking over the library. They may have learned something in there. Well, they weren't interested in sticking around in the library. Too much knowledge there. It wasn't long before they were trying to escape with shouts of "Let us out, let them out." But security wanted to see ID before allowing the protesters to leave. Remember the days when you needed to have an IQ above room temperature to attend university? Now the most dangerously dumb seem to be recent graduates. I mean, where else will you hear something this silly?
Let's say you had to pick a country in the Middle East to live in. What country would you choose?
I would say Iran, but I know that it's not the best for women. Probably Iran, yeah.
Yeah. They want to live in an Islamist hellhole where women are second-class citizens. Let's see what other profound insights these two have to provide.
Are you guys also Free Palestine?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so what is your favorite Free Palestine chant?
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Do you guys know what river and what sea that chant refers to?
Like the Mediterranean. I don't know. I'm gonna guess the Arabian Sea.
And what river?
I don't know river names, but I know it's the one that's near there.
Let's hear from President Trump now, diagnosing another Democrat, Chuck Schumer this time, with TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. Watch here as JD Vance cracks up. He's trying not to crack up, but he's losing that battle. Trump really is the funniest president.
If you don't, and the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, if it was somebody else, they wouldn't fight. If you had a normal person, if you had some stiff sitting behind you, they'd be fine. But they have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, Senator Schumer's become a Palestinian. Welcome. I don't know when they're going to give him the ceremony, whatever the ceremony may be. But it's terrible what's happened to the Democrats.
Now to the ladies of The View, who are joined by former President Joe Biden and his wife, Dr. Jill. And good Lord, it was a sickly, sycophantic love fest.
They like you, they miss you today.
I miss being here.
We are beyond happy to have you here today for a lot of different reasons. But my question is, how are you?
Looked like he was falling asleep there. Biden did struggle through the program with help from his handler, his wife, Dr. Jill, and he was not above engaging in more divisive rhetoric, painting America as inherently racist and sexist. Apparently, that's the only reason Kamala lost.
But I was surprised. I wasn't surprised because they went the route of the sexist route, the whole route. I mean, this is a woman, she's this, she's that. I mean, it really, I've never seen quite as successful and a consistent campaign undercutting the notion that a woman couldn't lead the country and a woman of mixed race.
Yes, he really said that, and he also seems to think that he would have beaten Donald Trump if he hadn't dropped out. I mean, there is delusional, and then there's this.
Knowing what you know now, do you think you would have beat him?
Yeah, he's still got 7 million fewer votes.
Yes.
There you go. Okay. A lot of people didn't show up. Number one. Number two, they're very close in those toss-up states. It was it wasn't a slam dunk, and so look. Every time I've been on the show, which I've been fortunate to be on more than once. Thanks for having me. Is that we talk? You guys don't focus on as much, and I think it's good on polling numbers. But let me put it this way: he's had the worst 100 days any president's ever had.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
That's a fact, is it, Joy? The man who managed to solve the ruinous border crisis within weeks of being in office has had the worst 100 days on record. Even old Joe in his feeble mental state doesn't really believe that, though he did try to blame his failings on the border on Donald Trump. Listen to this lunacy.
He got on the telephone and he called Republicans, do not support it. It's legal, it'll work, it'll make Biden look good, don't do it. And they backed off.
Can't someone be impeached for something like that?
Well,
Impeached, that's a new and imaginative reason to impeach Trump for things Biden failed to do. As Donald Trump showed, you didn't need the flawed border bill to fix the border. You just needed a president who knew what he was doing. Unlike this dude, listen to this incomprehensible gibberish.
All the projects, the benefits. How do you lead the world without having the best infrastructure in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best health care in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best education system in the world? How do you lead the world when you don't have that done?
And let's check in with this charming lass. You know, she doesn't have to declare her politics. You know precisely how she votes.
I can help you talk to somebody.
He didn't use his turn signal.
Man, can I please call you an ambulance?
I do hope that is satire, but I think it's just another example of a leftie losing it. Now to the worst vice president we've had. Here is Kamala Harris being Kamala Harris.
And I was just telling somebody recently who didn't know. We performed Free to Be You and Me. When I sang about my friend William, who was 5 years old and wanted a doll to hug and hold, I could sing the whole thing.
I think you should sing some now.
She always seems a little over-refreshed, and we should know today is a special day. It's the anniversary of this great speech. The iconic coconut tree speech was shared by Kamala with the world. It was a gift, really, 2 years ago. How time flies when you're unburdened by what has been.
My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context.
Now, this is a delicious little clash. Here is Candace Owens owning Jason Lee.
Let's not conflate it with being black. Otherwise, you'd have to defend Rachel Dolezal.
Well, there's no. Well,
would you defend it?
There's no defending crazy. That's crazy. But
why is that crazy?
Hold on. Because she was a white woman that said she was black.
Yeah, that's a man saying he's a woman.
But let's back up.
If you're gonna say that a man can just be a woman, why can't Rachel Dolezal just be black? You got to be consistent.
Because she's white.
Okay, because it's a man.
No, but hold on. I get it.
You know I'm right.
I get
you know
it.
I'm right.
No, I don't agree. And this is not a matter of right or wrong.
But it is.
Hold on.
This one is.
Let me tell you.
Why isn't Rachel Dolezal black?
Because she's a white woman.
Okay, because it's a male or it's a female.
You know.
Now to some Aussie lefty losing it action involving some loony left versus loony left hate and hyperbole. Yes, the feral left is turning on each other with Clementine Ford, who has in the past posted racial abuse about me and misogynistic abuse about other female conservatives. Kind of weird for a supposed women's rights campaigner, wouldn't you think? Well, she's now turned her attention on fellow far-left feminist simpleton Abby Chatfield, who, when not promoting butt plugs, is slamming anything to the right of Joseph Stalin. Remember her very sane, very measured reaction when Donald Trump won in a landslide?
If you're a woman in Australia and you think the US election doesn't affect us, just know they now have permission to be outwardly sexist and support a rapist. Just know that. In your heart, know that they now have permission. They now think they are the majority, and they're so uneducated that they think that because they're the majority, they are right. They now have permission to be racist, transphobic. They have permission to laugh about our reproductive health and our reproductive freedom.
Well, if you can believe it, she's more unhinged now than back then, because her fellow leftist feminist, Mad Greenie, Clementine Ford, has criticised her for being shallow and profiting from the performance of being politically engaged and presenting herself as a voice of feminist and political authority. That's a direct quote. Strong words, and that had Abby in an almighty meltdown. This is worse than when Trump won.
Stop lying about my character and my intentions. I get it enough from... Please stop dehumanizing me. Please, you can criticize my content, you can criticize my work, just I'm begging you to stop lying about my intentions and stop saying that I have a personality disorder. You don't know me. And this is so triggering. I just want her to stop.
Yes, no personality disorder there. And yes, you must not dehumanise those you disagree with, Abby. What good advice. If only you thought of that when you said Conservative voters have no empathy and that it's a good thing that they're supposedly dying out.
We spoke to Adam Bant today on the radio show. Thank you, Adam. Loved you, loved talking to you. And I really am thinking that, or hoping that in the next 10 or 15 years, as people who are voting for the Liberal Party literally die out and also metaphorically die out.
Literally die out, literally and metaphorically, pretty dehumanising, I would have thought. But let's get back to this left v left inspired meltdown, because of course you're the victim, always the victim.
Also, please, when I post about Palestine, stop using that as a reason to critique me more and say that I'm performative or whatever. Please stop discouraging me from posting about Gaza. It isn't working, but you're discouraging others and you're encouraging trolling of me. Please, I'm just trying to do what I can to help. I don't understand why she's so adamant on proving that I'm awful. I don't get it.
This pity party did not stop there. And the heart of it is the accusation from Abby Chatfield that Clementine Ford is sending her leftist trolls after her. You know, something leftists always do, but though they love to dish it out, they're not so good at taking it.
Because I'm aware now of someone spreading malicious lies about me again and again and again and again and again because she claims to know my intentions on everything. I'm scared of her. Please stop, Clementine. I am begging you to stop. You don't know me at all. You're a stranger. I deal with so much every single day.
Oh, love, you should see what a Conservative woman with a platform deals with every single day, including from the likes of you and Clementine Ford and your ill-informed, hate-filled hordes of lefty losers. We don't go crying about it. I say this genuinely. If it's affecting your mental health, then turn off your phone, log off, go for a walk. Don't do this.
I deal with insults every single day. I do not need it from you because you know that when you say it, you validate it for people on the left. And you are encouraging trolling, you are risking my safety, and you are f***ing my mental health. Please stop.
Yes, abuse from the left is another level, Avi, but let's not pretend you're not doing to Clementine Ford precisely what she's done to you, and that is sending your ill-informed, biofilled fans to troll her. Now, the fallout from Bernie Sanders' disastrous interview with Fox News' Brett Bauer continues. You know, the one where the global warming hysteric and socialist defended his use of private jets.
The only way you can get around to talk to 30,000 people. Think I'm going to be sitting on a waiting line at United, waiting, 30,000 people are waiting? That's the only way you can get around. No apologies for that. That's what campaign travel is about. We've done it in the past. We're going to do it in the future.
Only problem is you're not in campaign mode. There's no election, Bernie, and you're not the leader of the Democrats or the candidate. You can line up at United with the rest of them, and you've gotten stuffed up when even CNN is mocking you.
Tell me what the moment was in that answer that you thought, oh, this is going wrong.
The United thing, because we all you're a man of the people. How dare I have to be with the people, right? That's what, look, it's a cheap question. It's a smart alecky question. So it wasn't a serious question. It was kind of trolly. But his answer was terrible. You can't defend this answer. Hey, buddy, we all have to stand in line. We all have to do this. Even if you have 1K privileges, you're still standing in line. You still have to do this. You got to go through security.
It definitely came across as I'm not going to stand in this line.
Chuck Todd, he can't help himself. He has to be a clown. How was that a trolley question? A socialist taking private jets across the country should not be held to account? The uniquely awful ladies of The View, they're up to their old tricks again. I regret to inform you that the levels of delusion and madness are intensifying. Sunny Hostin thinks the new Pope is black. And because she's decided he's black, well, that means she likes him now.
There's one other thing that's also very interesting to me because President Trump, as you remember, called Haiti a certain type of country. As it turns out, our new American Pope has Haitian and black roots. So we actually have a black Pope. Apparently, it's like chef's kiss for me. So apparently, both of his maternal grandparents are described as black, Haitian, or mulatto in several census documents. And on their marriage license, the grandfather's birth place is Haiti, listed as Haiti. Her birthplace is listed as born in New Orleans. They were identified as people of color. But in 1920, when they migrated to Chicago, the census reflected their race as white.
Yeah, maybe the census in the US might just be a little bit more reliable than the one from a third world country. But if you want to identify Pope Leo as black and it brings some level of joy into your sad little life, then please be my guest, Sunny, because I don't think you've yet recovered from this revelation that your ancestors were slave owners.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
I love that show. But Sunny's obsession with race and her hostility to supposed white oppressors is sadly rather commonplace among the left. Let's hear from this young lass who has some thoughts on what's the biggest issue in her generation.
The biggest issue in our generation is white people feeling like they have entitlement over other minorities, feeling like they need to be at least in America, feeling like they need to be at the top of the food chain, and they're not. This country was built off of slavery. This country was built off of immigrants. This country is built on stolen land. Respect the people that you took this from and understand that we are telling you you are wrong.
How do you think white people can do better?
Sit down. Sit down. Stop trying. They don't feel like they need to take any type of accountability, and because of that, that's why our country is the way that it is.
Ah, yes, we love that collective guilt, don't we? Here is a pearl of wisdom from another leftie, a masked leftie who claims to love everybody. Well, almost.
Bible says to love everyone.
Do you love everybody?
Yeah, actually.
Do you hate cops?
Yeah.
I thought Jesus told you to love everybody. They're people just like you are.
Jesus was an anti-capitalist.
Yeah, Jesus was a communist. Well done, genius. Now time for some left v left vitriol. Here is veteran Democrat strategist James Carville slamming Democrat squad member Ilhan Omar.
Ilhan Omar says that white men are responsible for most of the deaths in the United States. So let me get this straight. 69% of the people, I'm stuck on that number, I don't know, but 69% of the people going to vote are white. Of that, 48.5 are males. So I don't know, my rough math is 33%. Let's go out and piss off 33% of the people that vote, and that's a smart strategy. And the people that agree with her, there are people that actually agree with her. And I think these, honestly, I think these people are more trouble than they're worth.
Notice he doesn't criticise her for saying things that are racist, divisive, statistically inaccurate. His only issue is that it's not going to be particularly popular. Now, as President Trump strikes advantageous trade deals, the usual suspects are out to poo-poo the agreements. Apparently, getting a great deal with the UK is nothing to brag about because they're an ally.
This is relatively low-hanging fruit. If you can't get a trade deal with the longest standing and loyalist United States ally anywhere in the world over generations, you're going to be in trouble when you're dealing with some of the more obstreperous countries around the world, or ones that are more willing to resist.
Well, if it's that easy, why didn't the previous administration do it? Probably because the previous president didn't know what day it was. The cognitive decline was extreme and obvious, except to the leftist media, who covered up the biggest story in the world and attacked those of us who pointed out the obvious, that Biden was not up to the job. Now CNN's Jake Tapper has penned a book called Original Sin: President Biden's Decline, its cover-up and his disastrous choice to run again. But when it actually mattered, Jake was part of the cover-up. He was complicit and should not be allowed to rewrite history.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
It's very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have no. It's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Oh, yes, that's how he treated those saying that the president was not mentally fit to serve. When it mattered most, Jake was a coward. He blamed a stutter for Biden's terrible decline. He was still doing it in 2024.
Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally. Yeah. I think the question is physically, right? Right. More so? Right. Right. And the guy who's his chief opponent is only 3 or 4 years younger than him. Exactly. I mean, you have questioned President Biden's age, mental fitness, ability to lead. Of those supporting Biden, you said, quote, "Shame on all of you pretending everything is okay. You're leading us and him into a disaster." Do you worry that you damaged him at all? I don't doubt that you got hugs and handshakes behind closed doors today, and maybe even publicly, some of them because they like you personally. But I've heard a lot of really nasty stuff about you from your Democratic colleagues. Sure. I mean, just like, what is he thinking? Exercising narcissism. Yep, there he is, attacking anyone who questioned Biden's mental fitness. That's Jake Tapper. That's what he did when it mattered. Now that Biden is retired, he wants to tell you about the great cover-up. Does he think we'll forget this? False claims to the Wall Street Journal about President Biden's mental fitness and acuity. He's 81, and his memory, you know, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the outrage. Quote, behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping, unquote. The Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, which is run by the Murdochs. Beyond the headline, there is some critical nuance here. The article is mostly based on observations of Republicans, with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy the only one going on the record. They do note in the article that most of the criticism comes from Republicans. Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower? No. The Russians are trying to make us and the public not trust our election integrity. Joe Biden has dementia and all this stuff. Oh dear. Thanks to Tom Elliott for the brilliant compilations there. And let's be clear, Joe Biden's decline didn't just happen in the last year of his presidency. It was evident during the 2020 election campaign, and as I've told you on this station over the years, it was evident even before that.
And to get hot, I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
I've got to say, I love that story. It's almost as good as the one about Corn Pop.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys. And I did. And back in those days, to show how things have changed, one of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, "Hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off. And I walked up to my car, and they had, in those days, you used to remember the straight razor, you'd bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in the rain barrel, get them rusty. And I looked at them, but I was smart then.